Where do you be looking in right in there?
In the camera.
You got both of them. You got both of them going the same time. See?
Okay.
Right, so that's that one there. We got another one right there.
Just a few minutes to tag your husband.
Right, so that's that one there. We got another one right there. God's play.
All right, you ready, Brother Reggie?
No, where you sending that? Where you sending this thing?
On text.
Are you texting to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Some
That's the easiest to get to.
some trap phone.
Yes.
Let's see. You go to the store, man. I ain't got you. Go ahead to the store.
Let me find this with Julius. All right, so hey, welcome to another show with Voices in the Struggle. I'm your main man, Big Ant.
I'm Brother Reggie.
And we have a special guest in the house tonight, Miss Tonia Howard. Well, hold on. Dr. Tonia Howard-Hal.
All right now.
How you doing tonight, Miss Hall? Oh, I forgot the info.
There you go. There you go.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. I want to thank you, first and foremost, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on our podcast and talk about, your school board candidacy and District 8. But first, tell us a little something about yourself.
Okay, my name is Dr. Tonia Howard-Hal. I am a native of Savannah. I attended elementary schools in District 8, middle school, and high school in District 8. Graduated from Tompkins High School in 1979. Continued my education at Florida A&M University.
FAMU, that's what I'm talking about. Tallahassee. That's the Florida.
That's right.
No.
Sits tall on the 7 hills of Tallahassee.
Right.
My major was early childhood and elementary education. I am a retired educator of 32 years. Retired 3 years ago at a very young age, 54.
Right now.
A lot of people can't do that.
Can't do that.
Right.
So it's good to get into education. Or in the military, you can retire after 20 years. Yeah, so
still working over.
Yeah. Right. I am a mother, wife, aunt, daughter, cousin, aunt. Most of all, I am a very passionate person for children and education. And I'm also a worshiper. I lead praise and worship at my church, Living Hope Community Fellowship, where the living Christ makes possible a living hope.
All right.
So I love worshiping and I love singing as a hobby.
Okay.
So that's 32 years of educational experience.
Yes, 32
Wow,
years.
that's a wealth of knowledge right
It's
there.
a wealth of knowledge. It really is.
Wow.
You've seen it all.
Yes, seen it all. I've had a chance. I started out in Effingham County in 1983. During that time, many teachers were not retiring from the school system from Chatham, Savannah, and it was very difficult to get a job. So I started out in rural Effingham County, Springfield Elementary, taught 2 years there for second grade.
So that's kind of like we get in where you fit in type thing, huh?
Get in where you fit in.
Yeah.
I commuted every day, and it was a great experience.
Good. So I think you left for Tyler when I talked to you yesterday with Woodville Tompkins. You had a title while you were at Woodville.
Oh, at Woodville, I was crowned homecoming queen in 1979. I was the co-captain of the cheerleading and voted as most popular.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Popular. Everybody knows.
So most people that's voted most popular ain't doing nothing now. You know what I mean?
Look at the yearbook, like, I seen that joke the other day. He looking bad.
But good. So for somebody that don't know, what schools fall under District 8?
District 8 schools are Godley Station, Rice Creek, Fort Wentworth Elementary, Groves High School, Mercer Middle School, Brock Elementary, Butler Elementary, and Beach High School.
Okay.
Also, Woodville Tompkins. How can I not mention Woodville Tompkins? That's also in the district.
You have a bunch of schools.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at that. You have in some districts that have more schools than the other. I guess that depends on
the
size of the school.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are some of the responsibilities of the school board? How do they affect the school and the parent and everything else?
One of the most important things that the school board members are actually responsible for is providing policy direction, adopting budgets as well as policies, and also supervising and the hiring of the superintendent.
Okay. That's
Because I know they gave what's my girl name? Well, not my girl, because I don't know. What's the superintendent?
Dr. Ann Levette.
Dr. Ann Levette.
Right.
I know they gave her HE double hockey sticks when she was getting in there.
And she was the most qualified person.
Yeah, she was. I read her resume. She was really the most qualified
person for the job. And if I had been on the school board during that time, of course I would have voted for her. Also, because unequivocally she was the most qualified person. So,
Absolutely.
She is now our superintendent, and there's much work to be done. And with my wealth of knowledge that I bring to the table, I look forward to work with the school board and the school system.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Go ahead. Oh, no, what I was going to ask is, what, with all your experience, you get in this position. Now, what can we expect when you get in this position?
Well, let me just first talk about my experience.
There you go, yeah.
I've been a teacher. I served as first a teacher when I started my career. A parent, of course, I had parents within the school system, and myself have been a student in District 8. I served as a Title I program manager for the school district. And in this position, I had the opportunity to work with a budget. I assisted with an $18 million budget of federal funding. I've participated in writing grants as well as curriculums. I've had experience of working with teachers, working with principals with their school improvement plans. I served as the district parent liaison, so I had the opportunity to provide parent workshops for parents, as well as work as the liaison between the school system and Parent University. When Parent University first started in 2000, I was one of the ones that was with Michael O'Neill in the inception of Parent University. So I bring a wealth of knowledge and education to the table.
And Miriam Munn says, and she's very hands-on. So,
Thank you. Right. I enjoy people. I enjoy parents, students. I'm just a people's person.
Right.
And one thing about if you serve on a school board, you must be sure that you can connect with the community.
Right.
And connecting with the community entails more than attending board meetings and neighborhood meetings, because in most cases, neighborhood meetings may have less than 1% of the residents that attend due to their work schedules.
Right.
So you have to get out into the community, and I love going to the football games, basketball games. I actually volunteered at Groves this year, working with their dance line. Of course, I didn't teach them any moves or anything. I was more as
you could
have. I could have old school stuff, you know.
You got some titles
I
behind
still
you.
remember some cheers from back in the day.
Okay.
So I just enjoy working with the community and with children.
Good. But you know, that's one of the things I always look for when I see somebody running for a seat or running, trying to get a position or something. What were you doing? It's not a question, but it's a statement. What were you doing before you decided to run for the seat? You know what I mean? What led you to do that? You just can't. So, you know, so many politicians, especially come into communities of color, and you only see them during election time, or they show up at the church. But what were you doing prior to that? And it seems like you've been doing a great deal. But,
well, what happened when I retired 3 years ago, my sister became very ill. She was really ill, and it was a blessing that I was able to care for her. And during that last mile of her journey, I became her voice, her hands, her feet. And I actually gained temporary guardianship of her 4-year-old daughter. And once I did that, I realized how far behind she was. I can give just one example. She wasn't using complete sentences. If I asked her what she's doing, she would say play toys. Well, there's a study
at 4 years old.
At 4 years old, and there's a study out called the 30 million word gap, and we've heard of it. I've read it, and it sounds impossible. How can a child be 30 million words behind? Well, in this study, it says that 3-year-olds from low-income families hear less than 30 million words than 3-year-olds from higher income families. And that resonated with me because I realized then that my niece had become victim of a 30 million word gap. So I had to do something about it. Well, since I retired, I didn't want to go back into teaching again. I've had the opportunity to teach and work at the central office level. So this is a great opportunity for me to run for school board. So I can continue to provide support from a different perspective because there are so many children as my niece who are 30 million words behind due to the poverty percentage. And in Chatham County, the poverty percentage is 64%. So that means that basically 64% of the students at age 3 are already behind. And this is not a school system problem. This is a community problem. And we must all come together to help close this gap. The root cause is disparity in vocabulary development. And until we can get to the root cause to solve this problem, we're going to continue to have high poverty, low achieving schools.
Absolutely.
And think about it. Dr. King died 50 years ago. So we was at the same rate 50 years ago. There you go. Yeah. So 50 years ago we was at the same spot. So which is crazy though. You know, 50 years later you think we'd be so farther advanced, but we're not. We're in the same position. You know, it's gotten better for us individually.
It's gotten better.
But like you said, the community has died.
Yes, we just gonna have to come together again as a community, and parents most importantly, you know, because back during the time we grew up, the parents, everybody's parent was everybody's parent. You know,
and that's the thing. They don't have that community like
they don't have that community anymore.
Everybody's so separated.
Yes, right.
You don't mess with nobody. I don't mess with them people.
Right.
You have to get to know those people though.
If you walk down the street and you didn't speak, oh my goodness, that's trouble.
Right. Yeah.
You got it when you got home.
There you go.
So I would speak to if the dog was on the front porch, good evening.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's the manners, you know. So we it's going to take a community effort. It really is. We need it.
And like every parent, the parents can't do it by themselves because they're a starter. But well, we don't see our kids all day. You know, they would teach, but the parents, they're a big part of it. But the community, you know, your kids are not in your eyesight all day. So if you got the community behind you and the kids are doing something like when we did something, hey, it was a phone call.
But what happens with the community being behind them is the parent are not connected because sometimes the community can get involved and the parent, you know, get upset and, you know, don't talk to my child like that.
Tell my child.
So there's a lot of work to be done.
I agree.
There's a lot of work.
I agree. We have to work together because in every community, no matter how indigent it is, there's somebody out there good in math. There's somebody out there good in science. Somebody out there good in reading. If we could just establish after-school programs in all our communities, led by the parents, you know what I mean? That would be a great help.
The parent involvement is essential.
Absolutely.
And it's key because our public schools, we provide after-school services. We have 21st century programs. Schools have after-school programs. You have the community centers within the neighborhoods. But we do have brand new schools built with the East Wash funding, and these schools shouldn't sit dormant after school in many cases. They shouldn't sit dormant during the summer.
Absolutely.
So, and we need to have programs for these parents who did not receive their high school education to help them with their GEDs, because we're going to have to educate the parents in order for them to work with their children.
I've always said that broken kids grow up, become broken parents. Once again, teaching
cycle all over.
Teaching broken kids. Right. So I mean, it's a hard question because, you know, I was going to ask you, why do you feel like you're the best qualified for district number 8? You know, why do you feel you're best qualified to be a school board candidate?
my wealth of knowledge that I bring to the table. I've served as a student, a parent in this community, a teacher, a district parent liaison, a central office administrator. And on a school board, there are various committees for school board members to join, such as academic excellence. I would love to be on that committee because of my background in curriculum and instruction. My doctoral degree is in curriculum and instruction. My major is in early childhood. Also, the budgeting committee. I would love to be a part of that committee. Actually, all of the committees, because I want to learn and to work with each and every individual on the school board.
I think that's important though, because you got a piece of everything, you know. So when you get up there, you can, when something's coming at you from one of those committees, you've been there, you've seen some of that, you know, and you know you can advise better than somebody who hasn't been on any of that, just when 1 or 2 positions their whole career. So I think that's very important.
It's something that you said, advise. There are 4 basic factors that I believe that a school board member should have. First of all, they should research, have the ability to research to find out what's going on locally in education, what's going on at the state level, federally and nationally. Because if you don't research, how can you then step 2, advise? You aren't going to be able to effectively advise because you're not effectively researched. You haven't researched the information. And then the next component is to ask questions. Well, if you don't research, how do you know what questions to ask during those school board presentations? And then finally, connect. You must connect with the community. There is no reason why a community do not know who their school board representative is. With or without children, they should know who you are.
You should. You're right. You're right. Too many times, too often, we elect, but we vote for our elected officials,
Don't know who they are.
and we don't know who they are, really.
Yeah, you don't.
We don't call on them for nothing. You know, we just give an unaccountable vote. And it's the same thing that goes with the school board. You know what I mean? Because hopefully, you know, you're taking the time to vote, so you should be able to know your vote stands for something, and they are an advocate for you. You know?
And in school, I remember, you know, we took civics. We learned the process of politics, but they don't teach civics
And that's
anymore.
a big thing.
And they need to bring it back. It really needs to come back as part of the curriculum so that our youth can understand why it's important to vote, who to vote for, and just understand the process of politics.
Absolutely.
I think it's very important early, especially now you see with the president we got now and the kids with the school shooting we talked about a couple weeks ago. They're going to be voting in a few more years.
That's right.
You know, and you want them to know how to vote. You know, what's the proper way to vote, you know, and explain to them certain things about the voting process. If they don't know, they're just like everybody else getting out there, okay, who do I vote for? Okay, I'm just going to vote all Republican, all Democrat. No, you don't know. You got to know that.
You need to know.
Yeah, you got to know what.
And so educating the public, educating the students.
Yeah, it's very important.
It's very important.
So what are some of the challenges that you think, some of the main challenges that you think Chatham County school boards face?
The school board or the school system?
I'm sorry, the school system.
The school system.
Not the school board.
Well, I mentioned one, the disparity in vocabulary development. That's the root cause of a lot of the problems, because by the time a child gets in the 3rd grade, they should be reading to learn, not learning to read. And right now, 58% of our 3rd graders aren't reading on grade level. 58%. And that goes back to early intervention, early childhood programs. That they are already behind before they start school at age 3. Our students, our teachers and our administrators, they work extremely hard.
They do.
They work hard. And I know for a fact,
fan of teachers, I gotta tell you.
Yes, they work hard. And I know for a fact they work very hard. I'm going to use this school as an example, Brock Elementary. They work hard over there. The principal works hard. Matter of fact, the principal prior to the new principal, Ms. Gillens, worked hard as well. But when students start school, 30 million words behind. And in some cases, these students do not even go to pre-K. They go straight to kindergarten.
It's like running uphill with skates on.
That's what happens. They start kindergarten and they're so far behind. So now these teachers are trying to catch them up to so they can, you know, work on grade level. Well, when you're that far behind, what happens?
You feel embarrassed. You don't want. You think you can't do it.
They continue to work hard, and it's. But again, if we can provide services for these children at the age of 2, 2-year-old programs, 3-year-old programs.
Get them early.
You have to get them. That's where you have to get them because a child, but typically 85% of his vocabulary is learned at age 3.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They soak up so
They
much.
soak up so much during that time. So we really need to. Early intervention is the key. And another problem is classroom management, classroom behavior. No one really likes to talk about it, but it's a problem.
Oh yeah,
it's a problem, and you have to be careful with suspending students all the time because you fall in trouble with being disproportionate. And meaning that when you target one subgroup of students, may be suspended more than another. But a teacher, this is the way I put it: a teacher should know CPR.
Right.
When I say CPR, I mean curriculum.
Maybe they get that when they go to the weapon range. Maybe they get that when they go to the weapon range.
Yeah, but it's CPR that I'm referring to is the acronym that I like to use, CPR, C curriculum. They should know the curriculum. And our teachers know the curriculum. They are highly qualified teachers. That's a federal mandate that they are highly qualified. P, pedagogy. They should know not only what to teach, but how to teach it. And they're very good with that.
You say pedagogy?
Pedagogy is how to teach. But finally, the most important is relationship. And that's where your classroom management piece comes in. Relationship, because if you can't connect with that child, it's going to be a problem. And you can know curriculum, you can know pedagogy, but without relationship, you have problems with educating children.
Wow.
That's true. That's true. You gotta have that connection.
Yeah, you do.
Without a connection, even with grown folks, you gotta have some type of connection.
You have to know how to connect with the students. Some years ago, I had a chance to teach 2 years in Tallahassee, Florida. I was at a school.
Inner
city school, and I'll never forget it. It was a 4th grade class, language arts, and we were teaching the writing process. And I told them to open up their books, and they did. And the topic was a snowy day. And I'm saying, how can I teach inner city children in Tallahassee, Florida?
What is that?
A snowy day. So I said, everybody close your books. Close the books. I said, there's this song out, and this is rapper, and he dances well. MC Hammer. I said, yeah, that's his name. And I said, he has this song. They said, you can't touch this. And then I explained that before he wrote that song, he had to pre-write. That's relationship.
Absolutely.
You have to have it.
Yeah. You
have to have it.
And you can capture kids with song and dance and all that, because that's what they do.
We've always been a rhythm, people of rhythm now. Because we communicated at first through slave songs. You know what I mean? That's a form of communication.
I learned the preamble through Grandma Rock.
Oh, wow.
Grandma Rock. I learned the preamble. The song they had. And then another occasion, I had a class that year. There were boys. I had new boys and girls. And that was the 4th grade, same class in Tallahassee. And we were teaching them how to do the mean, the mode, the median, the average. I took them all outside, gave them pencils, pads, and basketballs. And I said, I want you to record the number of times you shoot and how many times you miss. And I was able to teach them.
That's genius, right?
How to use a basketball. Then I noticed another kid, he hated math. He did not like it, but he loved football. He said, I know my 7s.
Right.
I said, how do you know your 7s? He said, football. Get 2 touchdowns, 14. I said, but what if you don't get the field goal? I said, let's learn our 6s. So I was able to, you have to just be creative when you're teaching. And all of that, some things you can't learn in college.
Right.
It's an innate ability in order to teach. You have to have that connection, that relationship.
Yeah, you gotta think out the box. This is real world type stuff.
You have to.
School's gonna teach you like the basics, but you have to think outside that. But they give you the foundation. Go outside there and start building your house with the kids.
And you have to place the right teachers in the right schools, the right principals in the right schools.
You do.
You just have to do that.
Like Dr. McGuire for Woodville Tompkins. He's a great teacher.
He is. My daughter loved him.
But I can say that about him, and it's true. But there are so many teachers, like the Dr. Patel there, I think. She stays back almost every day to tutor kids on anything they need tutoring on. You know what I mean? And teachers do that. They have that kind of commitment to do that without extra pay. So now teachers caught in between. I need, I should get paid more salary, but I care about the kids. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have to be in that quagmire. You know what I mean? They should get more pay because, in fact, they are caring about the kids.
And it's different cultures in different schools.
Right.
Woodville Tumpton is an excellent school, but I'm sure they don't have the behavior problems as other schools. I
Right.
feel that schools of the high poverty, low achieving schools, teachers should get paid more because they are more than the teacher. They're the nurse, they're the mother, they're the father, they're the counselor. They work extremely hard. And although you have the after school programs and these same teachers are providing their services, are probably burned out after school, after dealing with so much during the regular school day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're only human.
You know, you got to stay after school. It more than likely you're grading papers at home. You got to come back and, it's just, my hat goes off to teachers, I'll tell you.
You got your own family, your own social life, you know, you got stuff going on at home.
Right.
And it's all, intertwined. Like, okay, you need a break. You need a break, They wait for that summertime, like, woo.
I have a friend who's a JROTC instructor, and he just tells me about how the kids have problems sometimes, and it's just challenging for him. His wife had to tell him, hey, you ain't gonna be able to, you can't bring no more kids home. You ain't be able to help everybody. You know what I mean?
And so many of our boys, they need male role models in their lives. And in education, it's predominantly women. It's just to feel that, we go and we've had some great principals, male principals within our system. We've had, I can name them, Walter Seabrooks was one, Tony Jordan and Roy Davenport. And we
Dr. Brannon, he was at Jenkins.
Yes.
He was a great principal.
Right. And we need
an older white guy who just talks soft. Everybody respect him. I liked that guy. I liked it. I like that guy.
And Dr. Howard, a lot of them retired, some transferred. But the recruiting, we need to recruit the best of the best. But boys need male role models. They need the male. I remember when my son went to Savannah High School, Dr. Tony Jordan was the principal. And those children respected him to the utmost. There were not many discipline problems over there during the time when Dr. Jordan was there. And my son I would drop him off and he'll look in the parking lot. I said, what you looking for? Doggone it. Dr. Jordan here today for that car. And just his presence, so, and of course, again, with Walter Seabrooks, the relationship that he had. Roy Davenport at Scott Alternative School, the relationship. So we just really need to concentrate on bringing strong men in the system, and when we have them in the system, we need to do all we can to keep them in the system, because these young men need those role models. Absolutely. I was a single mother for 12 years, pretty much throughout the time my children were. I became a single mother when my son was 6 and my daughter was 2. I would never tell anybody that I could serve as a mother and a father to my child. I was the mother, and I involved him in sports. His coaches were there for him, the deacons of the church, the ministers, the pastors, and he needed that. It's a difference with a man being a part of a child's life in the home and in the school.
You get to see what it looked like.
Because a woman can teach a young man how to treat a woman. You know what I mean? But they can't teach him how to be a man.
And in some field they can, and I won't dispute that. But for me personally, I'm speaking for myself, because some people, maybe you can, some women can. But me personally, my son needed the male role models in his life. He needed it.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing. And he had great principles. To tell you the truth, at Savannah High, he went through several principals. Roy Davenport was there, Tony Jordan was there, and Walter Seabrooks. There was actually 3 principals.
Within 4 years?
Within 4 years. There was a lot going on during that time. Even at Bartlett, he attended Bartlett. There was Robert Lewis, and he was a great asset too to my child as far as the male figure that he needed.
Okay.
Good. You say that man presence is strong for a male child. Even for a female child. Because they need to see that, because some of them don't have dads at the house. They get to see, okay, this is a man.
And just another example, I worked as a recreation leader for the city. And
what haven't you done?
I know, right? Let's start there.
And this is way back, I was about 27 years old, and a fight broke out. I was at Fairwood Homes Park, and a fight broke out, and I just yelled, "Stop that fighting!" stop it, stop. And they kept fighting, and a friend of mine pulled him and said, hey, boy, stop that fight. He stopped on the dime.
Mhm.
I said, how did you do that?
And male presence.
It's needed.
Yeah.
It's needed.
So if you were, when you get the position, how will you address bullying and school safety?
Well, bullying, every school should have a policy. Anti-bullying is mandatory to have that policy. The key thing that must happen to prevent bullying is the communication. That's key. And awareness. The parents must be aware. Teachers must be aware, and the students. So many schools have the peer groups to assist those students that have been bullied or being bullied.
Right.
They call them peers, or their supporters, or mentors, or mediators. And also, as far as the elementary level, they have playground buddies and different things like that. So in order to address that,
that sounds creepy.
I'll
be your playground buddy.
Well, no. You are a mess.
You gotta be careful now.
Well, it's another day in time.
Right.
Yeah, or a friend, or well, let's go with this word, the peacemaker. That sounds good. Right, someone that can serve as the peer, your peers among each other. As far as school safety, that's paramount. And I know a question on your questions is actually asking about teachers and weapons, guns. I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Right, guns, or teachers carrying a gun to school. You know, some may say that's fine, but personally, I think that a teacher should be equipped with knowledge and wisdom to teach the curriculum.
And they should have that support.
And they should have
most schools are set up. You got a principal, 2 vice principals. If that teacher should kick somebody out of that class for being disrespectful or whatever, that student shouldn't be able to come right back in that class the next day or the next hour or something, because you're setting the teacher up for failure. How can you expect a teacher to control their class when you're not supporting them like that? You know what I mean?
Right. And the support comes from the top down.
So like Reggie, I think you should empower the teachers. You know what I mean? Reggie say put a precinct in the school. You want more resource officers. I want guidance counselors in there.
Well, currently we have resource officers in the middle schools, high schools, and the K-8 schools. In order for us to have the resource officers in elementary schools, we need about 23 more. That's going to cost $100,000 if you include the transportation, the car, their salary, equipment, and uniforms, which is quite expensive. But so the caveat with school safety is adopting a budget. You have to adopt a budget and establish one, and it should be done right away, because that's most important. Resource officers, and other, as far as the ones they use, but the budget is the most important issue, right? Funding these different things that are needed.
I say, hey, take all the metal detectors out the school and all the resource officers. Stop militarizing the school. You know what I mean? And deal with the people, the students who give problems a little harsher. Because you're setting the kids up to walk through metal detectors and clear bags, and it's really a school to prison pipeline mentality. We get them used to a form of control that they'll stay on, and they'll go function in prison like that.
So but as far as safe, you want them safe.
I want them safe, and there is a price for safety.
It's a price for someone who comes in with a AR-15, then no metal detectors, just come in there. You're going to have. It's a new day and time. We just need security. We need protection. We need we want them to be safe. A lot of, as I'm out campaigning, many parents that I've met are homeschooling. They don't want to send their kids to school. That's heartbreaking to me. That's heartbreaking. But they want their children to be safe.
But it's funny how you can easily have a conversation about establishing a budget to arm teachers, but you can't you'll have a long drawn out conversation about paying teachers more, about getting teachers better equipment, about empowering teachers. You know what I mean? But
Which is most important.
right.
Well, that as far as arming teachers, that I would never vote for anything. I would never vote for that.
Right.
Not arming
No.
teachers.
That's
No,
a recipe for disaster.
it is.
'Cause, you know,
What if a child goes in the desk and
right?
what if that
There you
teacher is
go.
careless?
That's the
Then
thing.
there's a liability now
Exactly.
because you were careless with your guns.
Exactly. They
The
carry
resource
their cell phones.
officers,
Yeah.
they're trained that they let them be the ones to carry the gun.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's their job.
Right.
If
That's
you
their
carry a
job.
gun, it's your job.
It's your job.
You're supposed to get all the training and everything else on nothing but how to appropriately use that gun and respond appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a question from Chelsea Beck. Will you support asking for in-depth, more itemized budget?
In depth. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty. Hey, Chelsea, that's kind of, can you rephrase that question? For an in-depth, more itemized budget. I guess you're talking about school budget.
To be more specific, you need to be very specific in what, as far as the budget is concerned. You have account lines, you know, with a budget, you have the state and you have your federal budget, but it needs to be in depth. You need to be so you can know exactly. Taxpayers have the right to know where they're funding, you know, where their taxes, how their money is being used, their taxes is being used. So, pretty much, I would say yes.
Okay.
Because it needs to be transparent. The budget needs to be transparent, and everybody has the right to know exactly how what's going on and how every dime is being expended.
It's taxpayers' money.
It's taxpayers' money.
Yeah. So you want to be able to
show me, yes, every penny, every
Mhm.
line item.
Right.
The public has the right to know.
And SCCPSS is one of the biggest employers around here.
Yes, it is.
So they have one of the biggest budgets too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought we had another question on here. I can't find it. We missed it. Okay, got Mary Munn say Parent University is a great resource. We would love to see more parents and families come out to our sessions. She said April 7th, 2018.
Great.
Andrew B. Williams, Spencer, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Free child care lunch and prizes. There you have it.
And that's been going on, like I said, since 2000 with Michael O'Neill, a wonderful program. And we're finding it's always a remnant with whatever you do, even in church. There's going to be a remnant that's going to attend the Bible study classes. They're going to be a remnant to go to Sunday school. It's the same as with Parent University. So we have to just be creative, innovative, and just continue to reach out. In some cases, parents don't like to come to us. So we have to step outside of the box and go out where the parents are.
Right, yeah. Like you say, it'll get better eventually, but it has to be.
I remember one year at Savannah High when I was the football booster president, we actually, during halftime, had a parent workshop for 10 minutes, just enough to give them pertinent information that they needed. So you have to just be creative when you're trying to reach out to parents. It's my desire that, of course, every parent would be active and involved.
Right.
But parent engagement and parent involvement, some parents work 2 and 3 jobs. And being an involved parent doesn't always necessarily mean coming out to the school. It's communication, that two-way communication.
Right.
That's the most important. And there are many forms of communication. You have for the primary grades, you have your daily reports, you have your weekly communication folders. You can use social media now. You can make telephone calls. You can visit, send letters home. All kind of just a variety.
Send a video message.
FaceTime.
True. I'm going to my second job. I just want to know what.
Right, and just be accessible to the teachers. Teachers now have emails, and they check their emails throughout the day once they get home, and so parents can email the teachers. Teachers can email the parents.
Right. You shouldn't only talk to your teacher or talk to your teacher for the first time when your child gets in trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? You should have some kind of, some kind of rapport with your teacher.
They should know who you are. You know, your face. You walk around the corner, come that's so and so.
They should
know.
Yeah, or so and so's
Right.
father.
Yeah.
They should already know that. Yeah,
Mhm.
you should be up there a little bit more. And like I said,
At
communication.
Savannah High, my name was Miss Chancellor's mother or Miss Starr's mother.
Yeah.
Miss Starr's mother, and I'm quite sure with your Tompkins,
Yeah.
they all know you.
And your dad is here.
Right.
She was like, how y'all know this my dad? But we do that. We do that ever since our daughter's been in school.
Mhm.
You know, the first year we meet with all the teachers. You know, just do a face to face, let them know, hey, we're here to support you. If she's acting up in class or talking back and being disrespectful, that's what we're not teaching at home. So we need to know about it so we can deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but some parents have had a bad experience in school.
you know,
And they just don't like coming to the school.
Right,
And you have to be wise when visiting schools. You know, in the middle of instruction, the teacher is trying to teach. You just can't expect to just bogart your
oh
way
no, you
in.
can't do that. No.
You know, but you want that that two-way communication is very, very important.
Well,
Even if it's a written note.
Right.
Every day, a kindergartner brings a folder home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can write a little note. Happy day, you know, had a great day. What can I do to help? So we just need to have more parent workshops, not to the school, go out to where the parents are.
Right. Yeah.
Miss Whitley brought up a good point when we had her on here. She said some parents are kind of intimidated or don't like talking to educators because they feel some educators talk down to them. And I can kind of see that. You know what I mean?
In some cases, yeah.
Well, so that and as educators, when you're talking to parents, one thing about it, we have professional development for teachers, and communicating with parents is one. Using acronyms that parents don't understand, you have to just be down to earth,
Right.
and always but because there is something that's positive going on in that child's life.
Right.
Some parents, like I said, they work 2 and 3 jobs, so they don't have the time to come out to the schools like they would want to. But when they're off, I'm quite sure that, it just depends on the work schedule. That is why it's so very important for a school to offer multiple times for workshops. You can't have the workshop at the same time every month.
Right.
Offer it during lunch break.
10 o'clock in the day or something like 10 a.m. You know,
Offer it first thing in the morning. Offer it in the evening. Just multiple times to have conferences and workshops.
Give them a chance, yeah.
And
because work schedules are, some of these jobs are crazy hours and they can't just get off when that time period. So like you say, multiple times I got a chance. I can ride over there during lunch break or take a late lunch, or extended lunch. Go over there and do what I got to do and come on back.
And that's why one of the reasons Parent University has been so successful with the Saturday mornings.
Oh yeah.
For the most part, some people work during that time, but from usually 9 until 1.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Or parents could do this if they can't make it. Maybe they could send someone on their behalf.
Right.
At least have some representation for
Send
the child.
your cousin to the school.
My parents, they were working, but I'm going to send auntie and the
Right.
rest.
You're going to get the information before you bring it back.
Or a church member. I've actually gone to parents to conferences and sat in with different church members,
Right.
Because they wanted to make sure that they could understand what was going on. So I was pretty much interpreting what actually was going on.
It's that community involvement we was talking about.
Back to community involvement.
Hey, sometimes you can't be in 3 different places at one time.
Yeah.
But if you got some good family, good friends,
they can still in for your help.
That's it. You got
Girl, I'm going to the school. I'll pick Aaron up.
But we have to support our teachers. We have to really support teachers because teachers have the biggest responsibility. And everybody holds the teachers accountable.
Yeah.
But who can the teachers hold accountable?
Boom, you're right. You're right.
Who can they hold accountable? You can't mandate that a parent doesn't come to a conference and what's going to happen. That's not a mandate.
Right.
The students, they work with them the best they can work with them. But it falls on the teacher. Then when you go into their evaluation, their TICAs, that has an impact on their career.
Right.
Okay.
So we just really need to provide as much support for our teachers as possible.
I concur. I concur.
You should want to. You should want to support the teacher or get involved with the teacher.
Yes. And that's us talking, but many teachers, they go through it with parents.
I believe it.
Parents, the child may say some things, choice words to the teacher, then call the parent, and the parent, have choice words.
But what you do to him?
Right.
To make him say it.
Right.
Right.
There's no reason for disrespect.
No reason at all.
Parent knows their child. They know what their child, most of the time, is capable of. Sometimes, some of them slip through the crack, the angels at home.
Not my child.
Yeah. But
I did that one time, got set up. Yeah. I went to school, my baby would do that, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I found out she did exactly what they said.
Right. But that's something my mother said. She said every mother or father knows their child.
Yeah.
You know.
You know what they're capable of.
You know what they're capable of.
So you watch them. You see all of it. They don't think you know.
And never say what they will not do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was a valuable lesson learned.
Never say, because they will.
Yeah,
they will. Think about what we did.
Exactly.
The things right now we've done, our parents still hadn't found out.
Exactly. They don't need to know. No.
They don't need to know.
That's a quick frame line. Last letter made it through. So we got Charles Howard say, get out and vote for your next school board member, Dr. Tonia Howard-Hal. Vote. Yes, we got to vote.
That is my brother. My brother, he's a retired staff sergeant from the United States Air Force.
Thank you for your service, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And he's in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
We grew up together. We fought.
Yeah.
We played. We laughed. We cried.
Yeah.
I love him dearly. And thank you, big brother, for that.
Yeah. And then another great city in Florida, Orlando. That's what I'm talking about.
I was late for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the classic. I ain't been in a while. I have to go next year.
Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Hall, so why should, I've heard a plethora of reasons, but
you go with that word again. Go ahead.
Say it again.
Why should someone vote for you for District 8 school board?
Someone should vote for me because I am a highly qualified candidate for the position. In a nutshell, I'm highly qualified. I'm vested in District 8. As I said before, I served as a student of that district, parent, teacher, parent liaison, central office administrator, and I have a true passion for education, a true passion for children, a true passion for my community.
So, that's you grew up, you stayed in education your whole time.
I knew from the second grade, when I was in the second grade, I knew then that I want to be a teacher.
That's pretty good. Amazing.
I knew, second grade, because what happened, my grandparents reared me for 11 years in Perry, Florida, which is 50 miles south of Tallahassee.
Right.
And during that time, right, of course, it's, today we're commemorating Dr. Martin Luther King's anniversary, which happened in 1968. I was 7 years old during that time, going on 8. But I actually integrated a school. It was called Perry Elementary School in Perry, Florida.
Right.
And I was 6 years old in the first grade and had a horrible time. It was horrible. I won't go into detail. So I repeated first grade.
Right.
In the second year, it was a little better, but it still wasn't very successful. Well, when I got promoted to the second grade, I had a teacher by the name of Miss Meisner. And she would say, when you go to college, you're going to do this. And when you go to college, and when you go to college. She put
that in your mind.
She said, when you go to college, and she taught me how to hold my pencil because I was using both hands and gestures. She just really showed me love. It didn't matter that I was the only Black kid in that class. She loved me. And I actually had to have a chance to talk with her a few years before she passed. She found that I was looking for her, and she gave me a call, and it was just wonderful. So from the second grade, I knew it was just nothing else I want to do.
Right.
I always wanted to be a teacher.
All right. And it says Keisha, it was put in your head at that time.
Right. When you go to college.
Yeah, because, a lot of kids, including me, when I got to get ready to graduate, most kids, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? Grown people don't even know what they want to do. So, when you have a thought in your head as a child, you have to water that thought.
That's right.
You have to, parents have to water, teachers have to water, they have to water that thought. So when you get to that age, okay, you might not want to do that, or you might do want to do that. So it's already in your head. You got your goals set.
Right, and you just remind me of a scripture that says, "Some plant, others waters, but God gives the increase."
There you go.
And she planted, and others watered. There's another. Well, many people played a pivotal part in my life in education, but Mr. Lee Pearson, I never forget him. He was the talent search program at Tompkins back in 1978. I had in my mind, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I felt that I need to go to a junior college. I said, I need to go to a junior college. I'm not going to be able to make it at a 4-year university. He said, why? So he gave me the confidence that I needed. He said, you can do it. You already know your major. If you know your major, why would you go to a junior college and transfer? You may lose credit hours. So if you know you want to be a teacher, go to a 4-year university. And that's what happened. So
there you go.
Enrolled at Florida A&M University. I attribute much of that to my father as well, because my father was a hard-working man. He was a longshoreman. He worked 2 jobs. He worked union camp at night. From 11 to 7, he would come home, change clothes, and go down to the hall and work all day, come home, sleep for about 4 hours, and that's what he did. So I went to him and told him that I wanted to go to college. And he said, well, a very quiet man, didn't say much. He said, if you go to college, that becomes your job. My job is to work on these sports, and your job is to go to college.
Right.
So that's what happened. And today I sit here, and he passed away several years ago, but I'm quite sure he would be very proud.
Absolutely.
To know that his investment was well worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what you have babies for, especially men. You know, like, you want to see them go farther than we went. You know, so you can see that sit proud. Like,
he was a stickler for education, trust me. And he said if he had to raise us all over again, he said, you know, he told me this years ago. He said, if I had to raise you all over again, I would do something different. I said, what would that be? He said, I would have never invested in a television. I said, because I make the reads.
So we have a question from someone you know oh so well. Most of the board members serving now don't seem to do any research or ask any questions about the things they're voting on. What's your position on the role or function of a board member asking for a friend?
What is my position? Well, of course, as I mentioned earlier, they must research. You must research. If you're sitting on a board, you have to know something.
Right.
Sitting on the board. Your job as a school board member is not to vote. That's all. You know, you just don't vote based on what somebody else may be voting on. You need to know why you're voting. You need to have.
So a school board member just can't get up there and go to the majority? All right, everybody go with this vote. We're going with this.
Well, I'm quite sure they can, but that's not the kind of board member that I plan on being.
That's what I'm talking about.
I would not go along with everybody else. I'm going for, I'm researching. Because one thing, and as I mentioned earlier, I said I'm a worshiper. I love singing and, member of a church. What I would do would be what's right and what's righteous. Most importantly, I would do what's right and what's righteous. And won't be influenced by anyone if I know it's not the right thing to do.
Right.
Of course, we all should be moving in the same direction. As I said, a school board, they have their responsibility, the school board, and the superintendent has her responsibility. And if everybody stay in their own lane and do their job, and the superintendent serves as the CEO of the school district, let her do her job.
Right.
We do our job, stay in our lanes, going in the same direction. We can move the school system forward.
Absolutely. Everybody working in concert with each other.
Yeah. It's big. It's big. Oh, yeah.
So how can someone get in contact with you if they want to help out with the campaign, they want to donate, they want to volunteer? How can someone get in contact?
I have a website. The website is www.howard-hal4schoolboard.com. And on my website, there's a donate button that will show you how to donate through PayPal. And also gives my email address and P.O. Box.
Okay.
When is the election?
The election is May 22nd. That's on a Tuesday, the Super Tuesday. Early voting starts April 30th. So we encourage everyone to please get out and early vote. Because on election day, we have a high school graduation going on. Right. I want to believe that it's Johnson. So we want to make sure that people early vote because you don't ever know what may happen. And every vote counts.
Nothing should be going on when it's time to vote. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking in a democratic society, certain things you would think, okay, like certain countries, certain things stop when they got something important going on. If it's election time, everything stopped. We're gonna get the people out to the polls. We want everybody to vote.
Right.
You know, we don't want nobody stopping anybody from voting because we want whoever the people want in office. So you're right.
This is an important election. We have the seat for District 5, District 6, 8, and school board president. So there's also the state superintendent. It's actually the primary election, but for the local school board, it's the nonpartisan. So this is it for us, unless, however, there would be a runoff.
Okay.
Right.
And it won't be a runoff in District 5 because there's 2 people. It won't be a runoff in District 6 because there are 2 people. And it won't be a runoff in District 8. But with the school board presidents, there's a great possibility that there could be a runoff. And if that is the case, they will go out again in July to decide who the president will be.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll be watching and
everybody got there, like I say, we got that research, see who you want to vote for. So when you go there, you know, you're already powered up there. Just so I know who I want to vote for because I have seen, you know, went to the websites, went to the pages.
I watched Voices in the Struggle.
There you go.
In the struggle.
Yeah.
So is there anything you'd like to add before we get out of here?
I'd just like to thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
You made it very relaxing and comfortable, and I just really appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work, and greater things will be happening with you all.
Thank you.
There are greater things to come.
Good.
Your expectations shall not be cut off.
All right.
Right now.
But again, I do thank you for sincerely for taking the time to come out to our little big podcast.
And good luck to you.
Good luck to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So here we are with Dr. Tonia Howard-Hal, school board candidate for District 8. Listen, we appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. You can still watch the video on our page. We're going to keep sharing it. So leave your comments, and we'll address those comments. And if it's a question, we'll try to and get it to Ms. Hall, and she'll try to get it. Hopefully, she'll answer it with her busy schedule because she's a busy woman there. All right.
Okay.
So we thank you, Big Ant.
Trying something new, man. Trying something new.
That's the royal way.
This brother
I wasn't ready for that one. Well, Miss Tonia Hall, and we out. Peace.